session. Scott, you can take over with the dredge spoil update. And just to make it clear to the public, to the best of my knowledge, there are no dredge spoils on Board of Highland Manager property. It's all on the city-owned side. Am I correct in saying that?
Pretty close.
I believe so.
Okay, Scott.
Yeah, so far, as you know, we were notified by a kind public servant that the state, DOT, DEP, Army Corps has an interest in 55 acres, 1.5 million cubic square yards of what can be considered dredge spoils from 40 years ago, or I guess the last time was 1982, so that's 31 years ago. And they are and have been in a dialogue. And we know that they've been communicating with the mayor's office, no, but there was a memo sometime back, 2010, 2011, someone got hold of, but which could be the impetus for the mayor's edict, let's call it, which has no legal basis. But however, I contacted the senator around, we discussed it. She is trying to get a legal opinion through a nonpartisan entity of the legislature, and right now, as it stands, we don't have an answer back as of today. We're trying to ascertain legally what could be done if they continue to press on. We do have some memos going back. One is a signed agreement, 1982, which was never renewed, and nothing was ever followed through. There was a 3-year, I believe there was a 3-year sunset date. If the state didn't renew it, they did not renew it. So that is in our favor. We also have Green Acres property, and we have an eagle, which, thank goodness, despite helicopters going out to the eagle's nest again, we have an eagle mating pair who had a child, let's say, who decided to build their nest in the middle of it all. And as you all know, there's a 1,000-foot buffer around that, which would encompass at least 3/4 of that dredge spoil area. So right now we're sort of watchfully waiting to see what the argument's going to be. However, eagles and everything else aside, I think we may need to, at some point, if things move along, we might have to do an emergency meeting. I don't know what that would entail, but I guess we can cross that bridge if we have to come to it, to figure out what rights we as Board of Highland Managers have. That's the biggest update, as complete as I can do. But they were very happy about the materials that they did get, and it gave a lot more than they thought they had. That's what I was told by them. So far, so
It's funny because they have been provided on various occasions. Well, I think it was even taken to the state, that standard spoil disposal agreement that former manager, they probably made copies of 10 different occasions and gave them to us. And I know they're his copies because I recognize his handwriting and everything's highlighted. So they were aware of that many times. Now maybe maybe they read it this time. I don't know what they did with it all the previous times that it was given to them, but
well, maybe they're trying to find ways around it. But
possibly.
It's too bad in the sense that I don't know if you can prove they're there after the height of the season, but I've actually seen tree frogs that run on their hind legs like human beings and can run from here to that wall and jump up a tree 5 feet high at that lower end of the island. I've never seen anything like that. I know Don has seen that.
I just whole front. I've never seen it over there in 6 years.
Yeah. So,
Well, if we, keep us posted, keep me posted, especially, and if we do need to do a special meeting, we really only need a couple days' notice to get it into the paper. It has to be 24 hours prior to a meeting. So sometimes we can push the county times and they'll get it in right away. If the need arises, just hit me up and we'll advertise it and have it. We only need to give the public 24 hours for it to be a legal meeting. Next is the island board, and Scott also asked for this to be on the agenda.
I want to thank Bob for sharing that history with us, the Burlington Island, or Burlington City water, which led to Burlington Island. It's a fascinating history. I think Don has, I think just about everybody's seen it. It's interesting. The most interesting part was Andrew McNeil taking a gun to a council meeting, which I found quite colorful. But what's further interesting is the geologist who had recommended, and the city, of course, took 20 to 30 years to act, which is that the aquifer underneath there, Burlington Island, is quite possibly one of the purer aquifers in the East Coast. And if this is true, I would like to, I know Manager Sunstein's done some research on it. I'd like to work with you, Mr. Chair, and Mr. Sunstein, and spearhead looking into the water supply under the island, and maybe we can tie it into the environmental inventory if we find the right university or the right entities. But I'm not talking about bottling water on the island. I'm talking about a sensitive way to tap into one of the 6 wells or all 6 wells, and if it is indeed pure water, I think it would be something that's not only beneficial for the children and for the city, but also for perhaps the tri-state area, and also create jobs on one of the coasts, whether it be Bristol or it be Burlington, or Burlington Township at this point, to transport water from there on, or bottle it. But in this day and age, with Mother Nature going to extremes, and it appears that even the politicians agreed finally that we are dealing with some major environmental issues, and any of you that have tasted the difference from one water to the next, I think if you have 1 trillion gallons of water underneath there, and it would not adversely affect the ecosystem on the island, I think we may want to, I think we should pursue it, and I'd like to do some research and see if we can develop a plan, meet with you, and bring it back to the board.
Very good. They're capped, but anything that's capped can be uncapped. Why they were ever capped is beyond me. But do the research, just keep us posted. I can work with you and Mary along on that if you want. Just keep me posted on
Sounds good.
where you're headed with it. Any other old business?
Another thing on that, Nick. One of the things I conferred with Bob Hastings out there. He's pretty much a water specialist about what he knows about this stuff. And I had talked to him before that did he have any knowledge of how were those wells capped? According to what he knows and what he found out, they poured liquid concrete down through the pipes to seal them out. But we're not sure how deep, how far they went down, but the expense of drilling one of them out may be more expensive than drilling a hole alongside of it, if it ever came that way. And you have to remember that eventually, no matter where you go with this, eventually you're going to need drinking water on the island if you're going to do any kind of environmental development. You don't want to have to bring your water on. So theoretically, somewhere along the line, it would be most educational to be able to use what you have as a resource.
I could also check with Vince Callisti, Chico. He's been with the water department forever, so he could probably tell me exactly how them wells were capped. And I just made a note to stop by and see him.
Yeah, there was another guy, I think, who wanders around town. I forget what his name is, but we all call him Whitey because he's got white hair. What's Mr. King?
Yeah,
Bill King.
Billy King.
Bill King. He told me personally he was there when they were capping the wells because he worked on the island.
Yeah, he was Public Works, but
yeah, so he may know something about it too.
Actually, Vince Callisti, he's the head of the water department, has been for a long, long time, so I made a note to talk to him about that. He could probably tell me
Yeah, it's,
exactly what was done.
to get a functioning well on the island, it would be ideal, even for the purpose just for clean drinking water over there, nothing more than that, comes down to it, you know. But, well, not to go backwards, but for when it comes to the dredge spoils, the dredge spoils on that island has been the thorn in the side of this board for any kind of development of that island for the last 30 years. From the time they put those dredge spoils over there, we've been restricted that nobody wants to get involved and wants to invest any money in that island, because they're afraid of federal government holding any of that land for themselves, and or the dredge people coming in there and saying, yeah, well, although we got 45 years of tree growth here all around this beautiful lake, we're going to strip it down to ground level. And that's not going to be acceptable. I can tell you right now, I'll be laying down in front of a bulldozer that day.
I want pictures of it.
Okay.
All right, moving on to,
One more piece of old business.
okay.
Sorry. Back in April, on a reorganization meeting, and this board has gotten away from it seriously. One of the top priorities of this board was to fundraise. It's August. We haven't fundraised. Any ideas? Anybody want to push this along?
Well, pretty much a lot of the fundraising was tied into the web with the PayPal. Am I
Yeah.
correct?
Well, we need to get, that's only going to be small amounts, maybe $1,000. It's not going to cover a lot of these insurance bills and so forth. And we really don't, and the kids are really getting shortchanged. Because, $250 scholarships, it's pretty much 1 or 2 books, maybe 3 books. We need to really start thinking better for the kids.
Do we have the ability to have walking tours on the island, $10 a head? Anything like that? Not to go against the city or whatever, but theoretically, my opinion would be, if the mayor says, well, I'm taking over this end of the island, and that's your end of the island, but I'm saying that you're not allowed on the island, we'll say, well, this is our end of the island, don't worry about it. We're going to go over on our end of the island. Scott, at one time, I'm going to say before the island got shut down, as odd as or as silly as it might have seemed, at one time, Scott actually had a hat that said guide on it, and he used to take a dozen people a weekend over there just to walk on the island, take bird pictures and all that kind of stuff. And it was, and they enjoyed doing it. They they couldn't believe that you could go 350 feet from Burlington City and you could be in nature, in 7 minutes. They just thought it was absolutely incredible, And it would be, I've talked to many people on the island, and I don't even talk about the guys that are on the rope swing. And I said to them, I said, what would you say if you had to pay to come over here? And they said, well, as long as it's not a great big gigantic amount, we don't see anything wrong with that because we expect that. Problem is we've never looked into such thing, and the only reason was we're always afraid that we would get in the way of the mayor and he wouldn't cooperate with us. Well, the mayor hasn't cooperated with us for what, 2 years now? So I don't see
Well,
what's
it's been a year since the edict,
since a year.
but by the same token, we were trying, to respect his office in hopes that he would renew the lease.
I think.
So that's just one of
I personally think that the mayor had, according to what I saw in the newspapers, prior to even closing the island of last June, you have to figure it's the June before this June, it's been that much long now, that he had alternative motives in this whole thing, and he wasn't being honest across the board with us, because according to what the paper stated and stuff like that, he had deals going with dredge spoil people while we were in negotiation with other people. And I don't find that was very fair whatsoever, because no matter what we came up with, no matter what it would have been, even if we all agreed upon it, he would have said no. And he wouldn't have re-signed the lease either.
Yeah, I think you're right.
With all due respect.
He didn't want to sign that lease. I think when he was a council person, let alone the mayor.
And to back this up with Don, I was on for Festival Lights. There was 50 people camping out. We could have got $20 a head.
I can say this, and I think Joe may know the number because he did a cleanup. there is a number that triggers OEM. If you stay under that number, you don't have to involve OEM. Joe, do you know what that number is? Once again, I'll pick at that brain of yours. There was a number. Over a certain number of people triggered OEM to be involved. Under a certain number of people, I can find out from the colonel.
The number that comes to my mind is 100. You know, it comes to my mind, but they were concerned about evacuation routes and things of that nature. And at that time, Manager James had did some GPS markings, and we provided those evacuation routes as part of the cleanup. But it was about, I think, about 100 people.
I'm going to check with the colonel on an exact number that triggers OEM, because if we stay under that number and we take them to our side of the island, maybe that's what we need to do. If push comes to shove, I can tell you right now, they can't enforce anything. They're just, it's more of a scare tactic. So we'll just do it.
From going on their side.
Well, we don't care about their side. We'll take them on our side.
That's not the point.
In the fall, I don't think now's a good time, Tom.
Another thing to think about was that, if we ever come up with, if we're ever planning on getting involved in another island cleanup like we used to do before, we had 2 successful cleanups, I don't think it would be out of the question to ask the people if they want to be involved in the cleanup, and maybe it costs them $5 a head.
So is there a committee to do that with, or how are you going to institute it?
I don't know, I would just say that
No,
would be, I mean, I would put it in writing up front so that they would understand that if you would like to be involved in the island cleanup, we would appreciate even a donation, or would you like to, or something like that. It's just an idea for trying to generate.
I think it's a great idea. It's just, if these ideas are just ideas, they're just words until you implement them. How do we implement them?
Same way we did it the last time.
How do we do that?
We got involved, we started checking around, we found people that had boats and things like that. Our biggest problem is always a boat.
But who's going to do that? Who on this board is going to do this?
No, I don't know, anybody that wants to get involved in it.
Well, you brought it up. You want to be involved in it?
I'm glad to get involved in it, I worked before,
Wanna head that
I'm sure we
committee?
can do that again.
And I'll fill out the paperwork. The point is, you've got to create some form of authority to put this into implementation. It's like a business. You can talk about it, but until you create some way of doing it, you won't have anything to talk.
I'm adding this into the fundraising idea.
I know you're adding it into it, but who is going to deal with it?
He just said he would.
No, I don't know.
I don't put a plan against
I
it. He
didn't
didn't say
plan
that.
it. You said he would be involved in it, but he didn't say, I've been hearing that there's all kinds of things that people aren't doing, that there's no plan, there's none of this, none of that. And there's a lot of conversation about things that we want to do or should be done, but that's just conversation.
Well, one of the reasons it's always been a conversation is because, if I can remember correctly, people on this board always denied one of these things, and it never, every time we tried to do a cleanup for the last 2 or 3 years, it always came down to, it never worked. It never wasn't gonna work, and it was never gonna get there in the first place.
Well, let's put it this way. That is in the past. That's gone. There's no reason to let it delve well in the past. If we're going to do something today, let's do it. But who's going to do it? You've got great suggestions. You were very involved over there. You want to get involved?
Yeah, I'm glad to get involved.
Okay, you want to head the committee?
No. I'm not
Who do you want to head the committee?
Well, I don't know, but I'll think about it, and I'll talk to Hal about it, I'll talk to Scott about it, see what we can do.
So you
We're
three still
basically
do
a
well,
cluster.
I'm just trying to get. I'm not trying to argue with you.
I'm not arguing with you on
The
that.
question is, you've got you, Hal, and Don. Is that the committee? I would suspect
He
that it
said
might be.
he'll talk.
I know he'll talk. That's what we've been getting is talk. Everybody's been talking about nothing getting done, and people from the past have only gotten away with things. Let's do something.
I would like to work on a flyer for Wood Street Fair, just something simple, maybe to talk about the wildlife, the dredging, and or, the potential of the island, and maybe we can get people to sign up, or email us.
Have we got our registration for the Wood Street Fair?
Yes, I have sent them in.
So we're registered.
We're registered.
How did you put a schedule together for us to,
I haven't heard really anything from anybody. We're pushing a deadline here. Because we talked talked about this 3 times, this pamphlet. Do we actually come up with anything? It's being revised, rewritten, or are we just sticking a sticker on the back of this and crossing out Joe Abate's name as president?
I think you should just put a sticker on the back and not have any names on it, personally. It's not,
I have a car in my van of about 300 of them.
Is that the old,
It's the old,
We went over this 3 times.
but that's the best
you
one.
may have gone over 3 times. Mary, I, and Scott were talking about this afternoon. And, we are talking about creating posters. We've talked about bullet points to discuss with the public. We would like input as to what you people would like on that. I don't know if there's a committee involved in here. Scott is more than willing to head this committee. I'm more than willing to be on top of and involved with it, and so is Mary. So if the board sees fit, we will get into it and we will keep everybody advised. That's up to you guys.
I read that folder, that's probably about the best folder that I've ever come across, this one right here. And the only corrections that I've come across that I saw, there was one statement in the middle of the flyer that I think has Joe's name in it, which could be crossed out with an ink pen or crossed out with a black marker if need be, only because that way it doesn't get him in the middle of it. And on the back, I still think that we could probably come up with some sort of a label just to put on the back page. And actually, you can have printed on that one what the new members are.
Well, the question, I think the conversation that we had today was, what are we going to talk to the public?
Right.
We're out there. You have a video of some sort.
Right.
We can still do that without getting into, unfortunately, the development part of it. So we have the ability to show the people the island, so forth and so on. We have also, between the 3 of us, and we're talking up in the open session now, is that we have discussed the fact that to engage the public in what the problems are, what the future is going to be, so forth and so on. We were even talking about doing a PowerPoint that you could put on the video. So,
Point of order, we're coming up on 9 o'clock.
okay, I'll make a motion that we increase or add half an hour to 9:30 to the meeting. We got a second.
motion's been made to extend to 9:30, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, so I guess, I'm not trying to take over this, Scott. The point is that we want to do more than just talk to each other and complain about what's in front of us. And if we want to engage the public, which the public is being engaged on Facebook every day, we want to engage them face to face, and we want to create folders. We wanted to take this brochure and bullet point it, so because we were talking about, this is a lot of reading. People will pick this up, they don't want to read it. But if we bullet point it, we can engage them in conversation. We can get them engaged in what we're trying to
Well,
accomplish.
and the other thing is, like the thing that Bob put out there, I mean, I don't want to get into graphic descriptions, but, I'm waiting for the pharmacy, on the toilet. I actually finished it, because I could read it off my smartphone. This is great, but it also goes into a lot of detail, which if somebody wanted to take the time, they could do. I think what we're trying to do, or what we should do, and we have Wood Street Fair on September 7th. I have my friend Nick here. I'm not volunteering him, but I know that he would help us. He's a good island steward. He will forget more than I will ever know about computers and graphic arts. He's a genius. And he could probably help us with something that as bullet points. I happen to have access to a printer right now for a little while, and then I might be able to do some flyers and something simple just to get, like the sign on your van does. People are like looking at it, and it opens up the conversation. And so we could work on some bullet points, a little flyer, tying them into the website, and hopefully Hal will have the ability to get all that ready, so that when people are emailing us, we can say, if you want to volunteer, click 1, or if you want to be an environmental steward, click 2, or whatever, and maybe we can get to that point. But for
Do you
now,
believe that you can get this done prior to the Wood Street Fair?
well, I don't know. I mean, I know Nick has an art show in
I'd like to request and take a show of hands. When we had the Burlington Day, we had Hal out there in the sun for 3 hours, and he was the only one out there. I went out there and held his hand for a little while. And I did request that the site that we will have for Wood Street Fair will be in front of the inn, so everybody has access to comfort stations and that kind of stuff.
And we have Wi-Fi there that we can use to square up.
Exactly, but the point I'm making is that we only had one person. Mary has already put her name in to be there for the Wood Street Fair. I guess you have, Scott?
I haven't only because of the Emporium, but as soon as I know
You'll be back
everybody
and
that's
forth.
working there,
I'm certainly going to be there because I live there. But we need everybody else. We want everybody involved. We want everybody out there engaged. So, Nick, Tony, Al's already involved, and we got.
Well, right now, I'm working 2 different jobs.
Okay, I
and
understand.
Both are asking weekends, so
Okay, I understand. I'm not.
I'll see what I can do. I can't make promises.
So in that light, what I'll do is I'll do my share and hers. I'll commit for the entire day.
Okay, well, that's good
From
to
start
hear.
to
That's
finish.
where we're starting, so we've got a blank slate to start with. We've got the volunteers, we've got the people.
And Jamie's got me on YouTube saying that, so I can't back out.
Yeah, in case it rains for 2 weeks and everybody wants their.
Well, they're done. They won't get cut. It's that simple. But I'll commit for the day. I'll open and I'll help close. And Mary's cooking me breakfast.
Not a problem, I'll do it for
Oh, in
everybody
that case,
else.
I'm calling out sick.
That's it, I'm calling out sick then.
All right, we're gonna need to get into closed session,
I
so
don't want
let's.
to recognize it.
I have a suggestion for fundraising. If you can get it done in time for the Wood Street Fair, you could get T-shirts made up. And if you use the same template that you used for the calendars, you get businesses to donate $50 and have their names on the back of the T-shirt and have Burlington Island and the website on the front, and have the T-shirts on the back have like Cafe Gallery, Lillian, whatever on the back.
Do you have any information on that, Jane?
I can get you a couple of websites.
Would you email it to me?
Sure. And you could have.
If you want to help with that, I'd be
We
appreciative.
got some
Sure.
local people that do T-shirts too.
Yeah,
Some point.
there's a shop right on
Is that Chuck
Wood Street.
Salonskis?
Yeah.
That's
Just
Chuck.
stay
A
in
to
touch
Z.
with me, Scott, and Mary.
One other thing,
And we will let it.
pertaining to fundraising, you guys still have a copy of the history of the island, which I did. I gave everybody copies. You're welcome to use that. I don't want anything for
That's
it.
the CD, correct?
The CD. And
DVD, CD.
maybe Tony could add the pictures that are on the website. There's pictures of Burlington Island in the 70s and in the 50s. You add that to the thing, and it makes it very
Add
sellable.
it to this email that she's talking about, give us the information. I'd be very happy to have you involved and help us doing that. But we need that information and we need the help, so please.
Okay, thank you.
For your information, the guy the company that did my design on the side of my van, the window, he donated his time and energy and the material to do that for me. He's a visitor to the island also, and he understands the plights and stuff that we're going through over there. He's very helpful. Very young man. Lives right off of the Jacksonville Road.
AGX Design?
Yeah.
He gave me his card.
Yeah, and he does everything from baseball caps all the way up to T-shirts or any of that kind of stuff. So if we have anything else we come across like that we might want to get involved with, he might be a reference or somebody to go to just for either a price or an idea or something like that. He may be able to do something for us. And another good point is because he's local also.
So he does T-shirts.
He does T-shirts and
And you know something? With the T-shirts, it'd be very nice, your logo, fight the DEP.
Yeah. And also, I want to bring up that we did find, I was talking to Joe, and we were trying to narrow down where did these books go for people who came to the Wood Street Fair and Burlington Day that decided that they would like to get involved with the island. I think Joe said he did find one of those books. So it's possible that we could pull that out and start letting that out to people that we want to get people involved.
I'll look in that president's box that I got at my house. Also, they may still be upstairs with the rest of our stuff.
Sure. Anything that anybody finds, if it's in reference to the Wood Street Fair, please get it to us. So we can incorporate it as best we can and have talking points with the public.